Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices for the 14th of January. We'll also have a look at a couple of NASDAQ stocks as well. Starting with the SP 500 here, as you may recall, I've had the wave 4 sitting here, but I really don't like the idea of wave 4 overlapping wave 1 here, so I'm going to move it up. I've been, this trend started off nice and strong and then it started to creep, and when a market starts to creep and get overlapping wave structures from bottoms to top here and those sorts of things, then it's normally a sign of a top being in place. But we saw the NASDAQ, if I can bring that across here, extend out further, and we've seen the Russell and the SP 500 extend way out. But at the same time, we just, we need to stay with these larger indices and understand them a little bit more. So, but even with the NASDAQ here, I've got wave 4 sitting here, which is above wave 1, it's still a little bit close for my liking. So there are other ways to count this, and but what I have done is I always work from the bottom up, and I do it in a conservative way, and that way we stay safe rather than saying the market's going to go way up here and all that sort of stuff, so we just go step by step and work it up, and that's what I've done, and it's kept us safe and it's kept us on the right side, and I'm just going to continue doing that, but I also point out the problems as well. So in this case here, the wave 4 in my liking is still too close to this here, so I would think that that we're not really into even wave 3 yet. Do you know what I mean? But then how would you count that up through here? Well, we could use these wave 1s here to look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for wave 1, so to speak, or I could look at it in other ways, but yeah, it's just not that clear yet. It just doesn't sit that right with me. I will do some work on the Russell. In fact, I have started to do some work on the Russell, but I haven't quite pinned it down yet. I've got most of it there, but I'll work on that and I'll show you that. But in the meantime, I think, as I mentioned yesterday, also the takeaway here is that the markets are trending higher, right? They are at resistance levels. This market here is the 13,000 and the S&P's at the 3,800. 800 is an important number. I always call it a profit taking number, and the market's really sticking to that number, and the market here has reached 13,000 and it's reacting from this. So the normal thing here is that I might just go to the hourly chart here for this and look at the 13,000 here. So the situation here is that the market's, well, we could call this the arrival and the reaction. We could also call this, it's so close. But even so, we don't have the 13,000 as the support yet in terms of classic trading levels pattern here. I don't have 5 waves up here. In fact, this also looks like it's 5 waves down here with a 3-wave counter trend. So realistically, in that case, I could put that under here for the short trade here. So, and in fact, I will leave that there just in case, right? But otherwise, we need to be looking higher here. So, but I don't want to go long based on a 3-wave move here, because that can just be an ABC for a corrective move, and we have another 5 waves down here for that. So I need to be mindful of that. We're not sitting on here. That's not support yet here. I mean, if I had a very clear ABC pattern here, then I would be going long here. But as you can see here, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's quite a nice 5-wave structure down here with a 3-wave counter trend. So going short here, you could probably even go short under here as well. Yeah, so we're just not sitting up there. We don't have that. That looks like little 5 waves up, so that's going to have a little pullback in here, and then we'll see another 5 waves up, and then we'll also see a pullback in here somewhere, and then up again. So if that's the case, if we move past this top here, let's just say it pulls back here, well then that top there becomes a catalyst for moving in long at that point. Otherwise, wait for the first high above the level to sink in there. But yeah, there's no problems. That appears to be 5 waves there, but it'd still be nice to be sitting on top of that number, 13,000, to go along there. So that's what we'll look for in that space. But while we're on the NASDAQ, let's just have a look at a couple of stocks, because I mean these big stocks are in, pulling the S&P around anyway. So let me just cruise in here. We've got Amazon to start with here. So we've been looking at this as a triangle pattern in terms of an A, B, C, D and E wave here. I have to say this E wave here hasn't really finished off very nicely, and what I mean by that, it looks more like an impulse wave of 1, 2, 3 and complicated wave 4 and then wave 5 there. So yeah, that could even get more complicated. I'd expect a rally at least here, but because we've got 5 waves coming down through here, that's a bit of a problem. So we could have 5 down here and then coming down here again for the E wave. So I'll just move that over there for that. There's other ways to count this as well. Of course, we can go long above the top here, or probably even those little highs here as a nice support. We could look at this here as an A wave here, and then a B wave over here, and we could also look at this coming down further from here as well, in having 5 waves down here and then moving up through there. So I'll need to be careful about that as well. So anyway, still sort of working through it, but even though this is a mess, the takeaway here is that this pattern is corrective. So that means at some point we're going to be going higher here. So I think that's, I mean, we've got to kind of consider that with the indices as well, Also too, from Amazon we can go to Alphabet, which is pretty big. So with this one here, we've been looking at wave 3 here and wave 4 here. There's no change in all of this. We've got nice little 5 waves up here for 1 and 2, and then I looked at this as wave 3 here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for wave 3. Looking back for wave 4, it's been quite complicated and time consuming, but it looks like we've got an impulse wave up there. So that means that we can, if I just remove these here, that means that we can go long from that point. Put that there. I mean, there's other ways to count this as well. I'll talk about that in a moment. I'll just put this into play. So you can go long, making a new high here. So this could also be counted as wave 1 up here, then back for wave 2, then up for wave 1 and back for wave 2 here. So it can certainly be a larger picture unfolding there as well. But like I say, we just go step by step. We know that when we reach 2000 anyway, we're going to be, sticking there for a while. We know we're working through the number 8 here, in this case, the minor level 800, 1800 in this case. Once that becomes support, yeah, I mean, we're just looking to get in a little bit early. You'd get in a bit earlier into this as well. I'll let you decide that. Nice support on the 750 would be okay, and on the 65 and on the 72 and on the 80 you could build into those. Let's just move along a little bit further so we get through these quickly. Amazon, blah blah blah, Apple here. So with Apple here, this is 100 ticks, okay? So with Apple here, I've been looking at it down here as wave A, and then wave B up here, and then down for wave C to make wave 4 here, and then starting our run to the upside in terms of 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, coming back for the fourth wave. So this market can also push up here as well. So there's a long trade trigger sitting here. You could probably get a better entry in there. I won't bother going into that at the moment. But this could also be counted differently as well, because from this low, this move down here is corrective. So I've got this 4 here dulled out. So you can have wave 4 here and wave 1 here dulled out in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. That works quite well. You could probably get a corrective pattern out of this as well, and it hasn't broken down below this low here, so that's okay in that point. But I've counted this as an A and a B and a C for the A wave, and then back for the B wave and up for the C wave. So it can be counted differently here. So we just need to be mindful of that as well. And this can really only be understood much later and further up in the trend as well. And this could also be counted differently as well here. So even though I've got wave 1 here and 2 here, and I've got 1 here and 2 here, this could also be wave 1 and 2 here as well, building to the upside. But like I say, we just go conservatively, and if you know your trading levels, we've got 100 here, which is a major trading level, and then we've got the minor levels that make up group 1, 1, 2 and 3 here. And if you know that if we get a tested support on top of 3 here, well, that will take us to 5, the next level here, the 150. So that's the trade on that side. But we don't want this going down any further, so you could probably even short that low there if that got breached. So from Apple, Facebook's a bit weak, so I'd like to have a look at that. I don't know the fundamental stories behind this, but yeah. I think I remember saying this before. This is the one that haunted me a lot because it always had this 5-wave structure here that was pretty clear at that point. And I tried to, be positive and view this as a impulse wave, but it was also difficult to do that. And then I thought, well, we may have a triangle in line with some of those other markets, but now it's sort of falling out of bed as well. So I can see that. I can see from this top here to this low here, we've got 5 waves, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So that's clear to me. We've got 5 waves there, and then we've got a counter trend here. And then this move here, I can see that that's wave 1 and 2 here and down for 3 here. So I kind of see this, have I got that connected? No, there we go. I see that as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, just to finish off that structure. But it won't finish there because we've still got this structure to go in here as well, unless we've got a triangle pattern and it's going to be in 3 waves. But I still think we've got 5 waves over here. So, but even then, if I take those 5 waves to that point, we've still got this one. So that would be 1 and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here and 5 coming down here. That would be 5 waves at that point. But what also haunts me as well is that this move here as well coming down, I don't know if that's, it looks like it's not actually part of this here. It's separate, but it also could be included as down for 1 and back for 2 here. And that would also bring in a larger move coming down into this space here before moving up there again as well. So anyway, certainly on the bearish side here. In terms of shorting it, you'd kind of want the closest largest number as the resistance. So you'd want this 250, 25 here to become the resistance. And if you take this example here, we never chase the first move down here, right? We can put that there as a trigger there, and we can even look for the second low here as well to short. But they must be breached in that order, so to speak. So that's what we'd need over here for that as well. But anyway, a bearish case there for that. I think I'll just leave it at that and cruise it into the S&P 500, but just with a quick look again at the NASDAQ here and going back out into the 6-hour chart here for a moment. So the takeaway with all of this is that the market is trending up. It has hit resistance. It will, vibrate here for a while. If it becomes support, then we look to go long at that point. You can go short under this little low here. I don't know how far you'll get. But yeah. Secondly, I'm uncomfortable with wave 4 being here, and certainly uncomfortable with wave 4 being here on the S&P 500. So I think that it's probably more likely wave 3 top is higher. This wave 3 here, copy that, could also be sitting here, and then I'll have to recount this because some of this count's not that fantastic, by the way, either. I mean, this never really finished off in a nice 5-wave structure here. It's more like 3 waves. There's 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 5, maybe. I'll have to check that again, but I remember there was something fishy about that. Yeah, so anyway, let's just allow this to play out at that particular point there. So the S&P 500, where we've had this wave 4 sitting here, I don't like that at all. So it's probably likely that we're heading into some sort of wave 3 up here somewhere. Now, how far that goes up here and how we count that, this was quite a nice correction in here from this low. So we could even look at this low here as 1 and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here, or even moving up here. We'll look at the intraday for that, moving up and moving further up into this space. Yeah, so it's just a little bit short at this stage. So I'm just going to flip straight through to, I just want to check, just go straight through to the hourly chart here, because that's kind of where we were in the 15-minute chart where we were talking yesterday. So what we noted here, like on the NASDAQ, this top here moving down, it appears to be 5 waves moving down. But on the S&P here, it's clearly got overlapping wave structures. So it's corrective. So we should be taking out a top in this space here, and we look to go long above this high here. So that's where we are. So you need to keep a stop under this low here, probably about the closest you want to get to that. This is also likely, it does appear that looks like 5 waves up there, so it can bounce back here, 50-60%, and then move off from that point. But it's kind of on track doing what we wanted it to do. Not sure what that's got to do with the price of eggs. Okay, so one of the things that we need to be a little bit aware of here, as I mentioned yesterday, and this is where originally we had wave 4, and I'm thinking, well, we'll use this leg here when it finishes as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. So we could count this as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 building up. I think 3850 is a nice area for that. So there's 2 ways we could look at this here. We could either come back for wave 4 here, but still, it would still leave us quite low here, so a bit puzzled about that at this point. The other point too is that let's just assume that from this low here we get 5 waves up to the 3850 area. We'll adjust that, of course. Well, then the 61.8% would be here. So there's also a possibility that we could look at all of this as wave 1 and 2 moving back here. Because once we get support on the 38,000 here, we'll be looking at the 4,000 at that point. That's where we sort of want to be looking to. So it's how we get up there that's is what we need to be looking at. I know that the Russell is a bit toppy and so on, but yeah, as always, and it has been like this all the way through. This trend here, it hasn't been a fantastic trend. It's been, creeping along, but the main point is that we kept getting little impulse waves to the upside and corrective waves. So I just kept on staying with it, even though it was possible to have tops in play in all of these highs. So yeah, we've done all the right things. I just haven't presented you with the right counts all the time in this little trend up, because I've played it conservatively, and I'm kind of okay with that, because when I don't know the wave count, I always revert back to the trading levels and support and resistance, and then look at the the intraday count on that in that space, and doing that and looking at that here is that I see this as corrective here. Now it may get more messy, but it's telling me that the market should be pushing higher from this point. We haven't really had a good correction at the number 8 here as well, but at the same time, the market has been correcting sideways. And when a market corrects sideways, it means that it's strong, and it is also an accumulation process as well. So it's accumulating there, but the trouble with this is that, if I can just point something out, is when a market moves up and then it moves sideways, that's strong, right? And then it will go up from that point. But this market here, it hasn't quite done that. It's actually sort of reached a top here and then dropped here and then gone sideways. So that's a little bit of a concern. That's more like a downward pressure. So we really need to take that top out there to prove that, well, two things: that we're making new highs and the market's telling you that we're going higher. And also what it tells us at that point is that we're getting support coming in on this, on this level at this point in time here, because the NASDAQ is still weak in this particular spot here, right? So I would, look at that NASDAQ getting support on top of that 13,000. That's really the key to everything. So not so much this market, but the NASDAQ here getting support on top of the 13 there. So I'll leave it at that. I've confused you enough, but the takeaway from this point here is having that NASDAQ sitting on the 13,000 as the support. If that's not the case, then this little low here is the one to short it on. How far it gets you, I'm not sure. You'll have to work out the 61.8% from that low to that high here, where that comes back. So it may not get you very far. It may just be something like an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here for the Thursday bearish scenario, and then moving up the bullish weekly cycle, and then moving up from that point. So yeah, I'd be careful. I mean, the bottom line is that we need support. We need tested support on the 13,000 to go any higher. I mean, it's that simple. So anything that you do before that, you're at higher risk. All right, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.